When you start any game, you open the game and you click the start button and then boom, you're in, you're started, you're playing the game. The Sims 4, on the other hand, before you can play this game, first you have to create a household in cast and not only select their appearance, but all of their outfit choices and the different variations. And then we have to choose a lot to live in. But before we can actually play, the world itself is boring, so we have to flesh out the world. If you have dine out, you have to put some restaurants in. We've got to delete all of the museums because every single Sims 4 world for some reason has a museum. It literally takes hours just to set up the game ready to play it, and by the time you want to play it, you're exhausted. This is why all Sims do this thing where we spend hours making the perfect sim in cast, and then we fill our worlds with lots of lots and townies, and then as soon as it comes to actually playing the game, we play it for about 5 minutes and then we get bored. The Sims 4 literally burns you out before you've even started. This is most definitely the biggest criticism that The Sims 4 has ever received, even before the game was actually released. Players were criticizing the Sims team's decision to give the player 100% control over creating the neighborhood, creating all the storyline, choosing the way your Sims live their lives. And not only is this exhausting, frankly, in my opinion, it is laziness on the Sims team's part to just leave it to the player to add in all the storyline and just label it as creative play. The Sims 4, honestly, I believe takes this concept of creative play and just brings it to a whole new boring level, in my opinion. And not just boring, but patronizing. I think they forget that we're not children. As far as I'm aware, most Sims are teen plus. My general demographic on YouTube for my Sims audience is 18 to 36 years old. Unlike young children, most of us don't get pleasure out of playing pretend, making up characters with funny storylines. This is what kids do with doll houses and action figures. It makes me laugh how the Sims 4 townies all have descriptions that hint to them having some drama or in-depth storyline and something going on between the characters, but then when you go into playing the household, it literally gives you nothing. Take Johnny Zest, for example. He's a townie who is supposed to be a long-lost relative of the Landgrab family, and it even says it in the written lore of his description. But then when you go into his household, he doesn't even know anyone, let alone his actual family. As a player, are we supposed to imagine a make-believe family feud between Johnny Zest and the Landgrabs? I just find it so patronizing when they do these descriptions, but literally give us nothing, give us no lore, give us literally fucking nothing, and expect us to just be amused by it like a child being told a funny story or being told to imagine something crazy happening. You know, I'm not a child, and I think that's the biggest lack of understanding between the Sims team and Sims players. And also one of the biggest reasons why we find this game so boring. Nobody playing The Sims wants to pretend something entertaining is happening when it clearly is not. They want it to actually happen, and they want to be involved in that process, but also have the process already kind of take you on a certain path. Because when it's just so open, we don't really know what to do because we can do everything yet nothing at the same time. It's like when I go to the shop because I really want some chocolate, and then when you're there, there's literally like 100 brands of chocolate bars and you're standing there ages thinking, what one do I actually want today? Because there's just too much to choose from. Yes, we want the freedom to create whoever you want and generally decide what path you want to go down, but we don't want to do this whole play pretend thing as a mean to facilitate it because it is patronizing. But at least in recent years, The Sims 4 has come a long way in terms of its representation. In fact, in general, I'd say The Sims, ever since The Sims 2, has been a massive pioneer in the gaming industry for diversity and inclusivity, and we often see this celebration of diversity and inclusivity in the general promotion of The Sims 4. Often the Sims team talk about how players have the freedom and ability to be whoever they want, express themselves in any way. And although this is great for obvious reasons, I feel like they just put too much emphasis on diversity in their promotion and not enough on actual gameplay. If I think about games like, I don't know, Overwatch, Apex Legends, there are a ton of characters who are clearly from completely different demographics. And yet it's great that games like Overwatch or Apex Legends have so much diversity in their games. But fundamentally, when I play Apex Legends, I am not playing it to celebrate diversity. You know, as a gay person, if there is a gay character in a video game, then, you know, that's great. It's nice that I'm represented. But I'm not playing the game to celebrate diversity. Yes, diversity is great and it should be normalized, but at the end of the day, I'm playing Apex Legends to shoot people, not celebrate diversity. That sounds kind of psychopathic about shooting people. You know what I mean? An FPS game. And, you know, in this sense, I don't really want The Sims 4 to be a game where I can celebrate my diversity, whatever that means, but I just want it to be a place where I can play The Sims as a game, not a 5-year-old child playing pretend with a dollhouse imagining how great it is to celebrate myself. As a gay person, I do appreciate very much that I can express myself in The Sims. To be honest, I think looking back, before I even realised or knew I was gay, I would always just make two male Sims woohoo with each other in The Sims 2 all of the time. Well, now I know why. I'm really grateful that The Sims 2 took this stance when literally no other games were doing it. Even still, many other games are not really promoting diversity. But when it came down to it, that wasn't really the main reason why I was playing The Sims 2 back then. I loved playing The Sims 2 back then because I love messing around and watching The Sims do things and playing with all the pre-made townie storylines and messing things up. But fundamentally, none of us are sitting here thinking, wow, I love how diverse The Sims is. But instead, we're sat here thinking, I wonder what would happen if I locked my sim in a basement for 24 hours. I want to see what happens when I woohoo with Mortimer Goff in front of his wife. And the fact that The Sims 4 doesn't get that clearly shows why we are bored of this game. Thanks to TikTok, we are all developing attention spams that are literally less than a quarter of the attention spam of a goldfish. But psychologically, like, our brains are actually really good at deciding whether or not we like something within literally less than a second. And taking that into consideration, do you notice how we always play The Sims in speed 3 mode? You see your sim is low on hygiene, so you click on the shower, run the animation to have a shower, then you put it in speed 3 mode because you're so bored and your goldfish brain cannot wait for your sim to shower, so you just want to speed through it. When our sims in The Sims 4 are doing practically anything, we play the game in speed 3 mode because it's boring just to watch them go from one activity to the other. In this sense, The Sims 4 isn't really a game. It's just like a movie that you control, and you control your sim just sitting there watching them perform an interaction. It isn't really in depth and really fun, so that's why you speed through it. Nobody just wants to sit there and watch a virtual character cut up a salad or read a book. Without the existence of storylines or anything interesting really going on in your Sims world, The Sims 4 is really just about maintaining your Sims, especially because we don't have the open world like in The Sims 3. You can't go off and see what anybody else is doing. You are just stuck in this isolated environment of filling up your needs. You see your Sims fun need drop, so you make them play a video game on the computer to raise a fun need. But why? It's so surface level. Why are we actually doing this exactly? So what? Because when we fill the needs, their profile pic in the bottom left corner is happy? Why do I care that my Sims have a PNG with a happy face that says they're happy? It literally has no impact upon my life as a player. The Sims 4 is just like a movie that you control, but that's all it really is. With packs like seasons in The Sims 4, I can see winter come, and yeah, it looks really, really beautiful, and I can see the snow, and I can watch my Sims ice skate, but that's all I do. I just watch like a movie, not play like a game. As players, we take an extremely passive role in The Sims 4, just watching time pass by as our Sims do things. And doing things is great, but only when it comes with a sense of satisfaction as a player. Yes, I have the duty as a player to raise my Sims' needs. Yes, I make them level up their skills. Yes, I can promote them in their job, and I can make them earn more money, but what does that mean for me as a player? Why do I even care if my Sim has a promotion? This doesn't really give me a sense of achievement as a player, and there is no end goal in mind. Yeah, when Sims in The Sims 4 get a promotion, they have to work less hours and they earn more money. But yeah, if my Sims are working less hours, it just means they're at home more, which means I have to fulfill their needs more, which is boring. Yes, they have more money, but what do I do with that money? Do I buy them a new luxurious sofa? Why? If I wanted to give my Sims a nice house, I just do it in build mode with the motherload cheat. There's not even a slight direction about what I should be doing at any given moment. The Sims 4 is just not stimulating enough. It tries to be a jack of all trades. It gives us a little bit of everything, but not quite in depth enough for it truly to be something and to make me feel satisfied. In that sense, I feel like the game has many open ends and loopholes that leave us wondering what is actually going on, and why is it going on, and why as a player do I care that it's going on? This lack of consistency makes it really difficult to know what to expect out of the game. And when I don't know what to expect, I really don't know where to go or what to do. For example, with Get Famous, I can make my Sims a world famous actor, and the gameplay for Get Famous, the acting career, is cool. I do like it, but the payments that actors receive in Get Famous are actually not that high compared to other careers, and you can actually make so much more money much more quickly just by doing something stupid like selling herbs from your garden. So why am I going to bother wasting my time doing the acting career? And let's say the way that we do receive money in The Sims 4 is more balanced. Why do I even want to buy things in the first place? Everything you either need is free or virtually cheap or so crazily priced it doesn't make any sense. See, this cottage door is 40 simoleons. This glass door is 50 simoleons. Even this giant door here is only 50. But then this wooden door here is literally 305 simoleons. Even this glass panel door here is 155, more expensive than all of these combined. Why would I waste my time giving my Sims a good career when it doesn't even really matter having money anyway? There are just so many things to do in The Sims 4. The possibilities are literally endless, but it's just that there isn't really a reason to do any of these things. There's always something that makes you think, why do I need to do this when there's something so much easier that I can just do instead? And even so, if you really want to buy something in the game, most people just use cheats, which in my opinion are too easily available, because when cheats are too easily available, you're really likely to click click on them and it does get a bit boring. I think the main reason why The Sims became a good game ever since The Sims 1 is because it is a fun game to mess around with. You watch an amusement when your sim sets a kitchen on fire, or when they turn into a vampire and see what they can do as a vampire, or when they drown in a pool when you put a fence around it. I mean, saying that, it makes me sound like a bit of a psychopath, but you know what I mean. With The Sims 4 focusing so much less on the chaos that came with previous Sims games and focusing more on diversity and creative let's pretend style play, and it's taken a shift from being fun to just being bland. And even with more features, it's still bland because they're just not embracing the fun of The Sims. I've spoken about this before a lot in a previous video, so I won't go into it in too much detail, but Google does provide trend graphs which show us trends of different games. But according to this Google Trends graph, you can see that the interest in The Sims 4 has been pretty consistent, but there are a lot of spikes. When the spikes go up, down, up, down, up, down, that indicates that there's a lot of interest followed by a big drop in interest, and then a lot of interest followed by a big drop. In general, games don't really go up and down like this. It's not normal. Most games maintain a much smoother level of interest, which generally shows a consistent level of interest in that game. The way The Sims 4 appears so volatile is really interesting because it indicates that people jump into this game really enthusiastically, and then they play it, and then they get bored, and then they immediately drop off again. And then the cycle just repeats of picking up the game and getting really bored of it. I didn't make this video to offer any solution or even complain about The Sims 4 really. Some of you know I study psychology at university and I find human behavior incredibly interesting. The psychology of why Simmers do this, where they enthusiastically pick up the game and then immediately drop it, it really interests me. And I think it's because The Sims 4 is fundamentally a very boring game and we want it to be fun, but it's not fun. And that's something I find really fascinating. Simmers have a really strange love-hate relationship with The Sims 4, and you don't really see that in any other gaming communities. I did discuss in a video up here why I think The Sims 4 is incredibly strange. I do recommend you check that video out now. See you in the next one.